So, Caricat, Into Glory Ride. This is Montebello, May 20th, 1859. Definitely have some comments. Still playing. It's interesting, but I really have some concerns. I have some concerns because, yeah, where am I? Well, in this last play session, and I know I've lost track of videos to play sessions, and I probably lost the sound on a video, so I don't know, I lost track. But I know in the last play session, let's see, yeah. So the Austrians lost this infantry unit and the leader, von Braun, and the Italo-French side. They lost Bourret, leader there. This is what happened. Well, the leaders were definitely lost on rolling doubles. So rolling doubles is, well, from my experience now, is like not a pro forma exercise. So when I take any losses, because it's has sustained a loss. So that would be a loss of any, losses are, wait a minute. Yeah, oh, that's interesting. Okay. I read under leader loss, at the end of fire or melee combat, the owning player rolls 2 dice. And rolls 2 dice for each leader whose stack has sustained a loss. I immediately took that to mean even a single, because I took that to mean hits, because in fire combat, if you hit the 2 hit numbers, you cause a hit. And in melee, oh, that's funny. And under melee, okay, so where are they summarized? Not summarized there. That's funny. That's pretty much useless. What you want? No, I'm sorry. This is what I'm looking for. So here they have morale losses. Yeah, so I took, oh, that's funny. And then they do hits. That could be tightened up. Use losses or use hits, but not both. Okay, so I took that to mean if there's even a single hit, like a single unit goes from good order to ready, you roll for leader loss. That's how I read it. Not have lost in a unit that's eliminated. Okay, anyways, I took it to be loss, and obviously I rolled doubles on each side for a leader loss on each side. That seems to be, well, actually I thought it was devastating. You do get, so I put on the turn record track here, I put a replacement, which is a staff commander for each of these guys. So that's Bourret's staff replacement, and that's von Braun's staff replacement. And I put them on the turn track on the next turn because they because on the following turn, replacement leaders enter play. Okay. Leader loss is still significant. But anyways, that is not nearly my concern. My concern was, this is my concern. So in fire combat, I rolled, as an example, actually I think it was the Austrians. That's why I have my color-coded dice. So I did one 4 dice fire combat, right? I rolled and I got 3 6s. And I mean, that was devastating. Then that was devastating for fire combat. Then I think it was the Italian French, they did 2 4 dice fire combat attacks, and they got absolutely nothing. Which again, that's the point. It's possible with the multiple dice mechanic. Then, I mean, most of my melees, most of them are down here 1 to 3 differential, which, I mean, that's just 1 morale loss, and I won't even count retreats. I've gotten up to the 4 to 6 differential. But that's just 2 morale losses. That seems significantly less than what I've been rolling in fire combat. So now, well, what I was thinking was, and this is just off the top of my head, and I don't care for this term, but wargamers talk about it, the swingy results you get from multiple dice mechanic. That seems more applicable to melee than it does to fire combat. Fire combat, I would think, would be more of a predictable bell curve. Whereas melee, I can understand it being these wild swings of extremes. I won't go into why, but I have reasons why that's why that sits easier. And I have reasons why fire combat does not sit easy, that it's this wild swing. So I'm going to continue to play. I want to see how this works. But I'm just saying this last play session had just wild results all over the place, and I'm not sure. I mean, it's one thing to just have those results and say, okay, that's just this. But when I look at this is what it looks like. It looks like fire combat attacks are too effective. Yeah, I was thinking, if fire combat is really this effective, why would I bother going into melee? When I'm going into melee, I'm taking what they call defensive fire. I'm going in, so why would I choose to go into melee to take defensive fire and to have these really modest losses? Right? I need to get 9+ differential to get 4 morale losses. Well, no, let me put it this way. I have to get to a 7 to 8 differential, which so far has been not easy, to get 3 morale losses, right? Whereas I got 3 morale losses from a single 4 dice fire combat attack. That again, that suggests that why doesn't both sides just choose the fire combat route? And again, it's chancy, right? So one side, no. No, I'll flip that around. 2 units go into attack 1 unit, and they just choose to do fire combat. The attackers, which have numerical superiority of 2 to 1, they roll 8 dice and get nothing. The defender rolls and gets 3, or let's see, what if it was 4 6s? That would probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Okay, unless that would eliminate a unit that had already had just 1 hit. So what are we saying? You don't want to go into fire combat unless you're at full strength? That doesn't, put it this way, why does being shaken matter that much for fire combat? I understand it being less effective fire, but well, yeah. Here's another way to put it. I think that maybe, okay, you roll a six-sided die for every fire combat strength point, like the rules have. But there should be like a cap on the total amount of damage you can cause by fire combat. So let's just say this unit firing back at these 2 units attacking it still rolls 4 dice, trying to get those 6s or 5s and 6s. But if it's capped at, say, 2 hits, you still have 4 chances to get a hit, but you can't. There's a cap on the number of hits. I understand that mechanic might have a bit of a drawback, but the real point is, I think of fire combat as being more predictable, shallow bell curve, and melee being more unpredictable, much more dramatic bell curve. That's what I think. And here you have multiple dice going for 2 hit numbers for fire combat, and you have differential for melee. As far as the last play session, that seems odd. So I know this has been, really off the top of my head. Things certainly didn't go as expected, and I was just trying to figure out why it wasn't as expected this last play session.